The Western Cape's Community Safety MEC, Albert Fritz, is calling on the Minister to provide clarity on the 19,000 prisoners to be considered for parole and has requested further details on the conditions of their release. He joins me now on the line. A very good morning, MEC Fritz, and thank you so much for joining me on Weekend Dawn. My first question, for those of us who don't know, what exactly is a low-risk prisoner?
That's a very good question. Because what we have found, and the only reason why we're asking for more clarity, Jacob, around the issue, is that we have seen over the past year now, and very recently, we have seen every single person who was responsible for the killing and the murder of children in this province were parolees who many times was imprisoned for another lower kind of crime, for a less serious crime, but they're actually very serious criminals. They were previously in for murder and for rape, and then they offend by stealing something, and so they are a low kind of crime category person that then gets parole and come out and exactly do the thing of murder or rape. In fact, rape and murder in all our cases that we had recently. So the point we're making is, and I hear the Minister says that he will do the screening session, that he will do psychologists and social work, all that. I've worked within the prison system for more than 10 years in my previous life, and I've been with the Office of the Inspecting Judge, and I can tell you what our ministers are saying at the level in the public and what is in the reality in actual in prison and the courts is far, far apart. And all we're asking is give us far more clear indications of who you want to release. We like the idea of the vulnerable coming out. People are really vulnerable. Old people in that regard, and women who are frail, but really give us far more specific, information.
MEC, why is it important for parole boards to consider the reintegration of the prisoners back into their community?
Yes, and that is an incredibly great question you're asking, because the parole board plays a pivotal role in finding also that the community's interest is taken at heart, and that the community's interest is looked at, and that the parole officer is supposed to go out to the community and engage with that community and check with that community whether this person, because everyone knows it, that he's applied to come back and that you will be put back into this club. And what the community many times asks is, will there be proper kind of monitoring of it? Now, I can tell you that's almost, at the moment, it seems as if that is non-existent. The monitoring of parolees when they put out. And so what we have, the effect of that, is that you have, in most of our major systems or cities where there are prisons, you have major big groups of parolees just dumped into those cities, and they're the biggest cause. And I'm saying it with absolute respect because, human beings need seconds on. But they are many times, because purely out of desperation, they're many times the biggest problem in crime in that cities. And I'm talking about now in the bigger CBD or in that community, they're the biggest crime problem. And we've seen, again, as I said, all our victims the last time were parolees. The victims were attacked by parolees who were released without doing proper screening of them.
MEC, maybe we should touch on things like community service. What does that look like for parolees under the lockdown? I mean, this is obviously if the lockdown does continue.
Yes, that's the issue. The one other problem is that the lockdown is so restrictive. I mean, it's so restrictive and understandably so. And so, one of the issues that we can look at is to see that the infant parolees are released to police stations to assist with the cleaning of police stations like they used to do it before, cleaning and sanitizing, and I think they can play actually a very good role in doing that. But that would be under very strict, organized and coordinated, authority where they're at the police station, where they're under the eyes of the police, and where they clean, sanitize, we've seen the infection rate in our police stations skyrocketing. So I know in the Western Cape specifically, we are saying that can assist. Now, that's the type of information we would like from the Minister. Come and do all that sanitizing, because we know sanitation is an important point in this COVID related. So it's a great if they can play a big role in COVID-related assistance at places, secure places like police stations, like in the courts, etc.
MEC, the President's decision is based on the UN's call that countries should reduce the number of prisoners to allow for social distancing. Can South Africa afford to do something like this, considering that it is a crime hotspot? And also, doesn't this speak largely on overcrowding in prisons in South Africa?
Yeah, the issue, let me also say the issue with overcrowding has always been, and it's a really a serious issue because it really affects basic human rights of people. Of course, there are many people who say on the other hand, if you are affecting other people's human rights, we don't deserve human, but we can't go there. We're still a constitutional democracy and we must respect that. But I want to say that's a very important point. And so one of the other issues that the Minister also referred to was to just review and to look at those people who get bail amounts of under 500 or under 1,000 rand. And I remember when I was with the inspecting judge, we had a whole campaign looking at how do we get the prison population reduced by looking at all those categories of prisoners who are just too poor to pay. Because if you're granted bail, then the magistrate doesn't find a problem with you being back in society. And so that's one category that one can look at, and we carefully look at that. Because, you just can't afford bail. The fact that you're still in prison is you can't afford it 500 rand. And that speaks to your kind of economic situation. And to allow those categories of people also to come out again under very, very clear screening systems. But I think we must also respect the kind of United Nations call that prisons are overcrowded. We must look at creative means, but that keep our community safe. I think that's the point that we're trying to do. And as I said, one of the reasons would be where a magistrate has assessed a person and that is suitable for bail, but he just can't afford bail. So he pays, the state pays for more than 400 rand a day for him in prison, whereas he could have been out on a 500 rand bail. It just doesn't make sense. So that's a category where a complete agreement could be considered for release.
My final question before we let you go, obviously is about the reaction to this announcement. Have you heard anything from the organizations such as POPCRU and the South African Prisoners Organization for Human Rights and even prisoners on the ground?
We haven't heard, I haven't engaged with any of the kind of, interest groups within prison. And we would, in fact, I know on Tuesday I'm having a meeting with the MPA. And we've also invited the Correctional Services Commissioner in the Western Cape because we work very closely with all of them. And I want to say we work closely because, and I would really look at that kind of also option to see how we can also include some of the interest groups, the people who are affected. The POPCRU members are openly directly affected by overcrowded population. We've seen infections in East London. We've seen infections in our police stations here in the Western Cape. And it's just in the interest of all of us and to fight this virus, this is an evil virus, to make sure that we engage everyone and that we leave no one behind and exclude no one. I think that's an important point that we must do and will do.
MEC Albert Fritz, we'll leave it right there. Thank you for your time. That was the Community Safety MEC in the Western Cape, saying that more clarity is needed from the Minister of Justice, Ronald Lamola, on the conditions of the parole.